How are you all? I'm so glad to be here. Sorry about the little bit time. I was running a little bit late, but here we are. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good day, good night, whatever it is for you. I'm glad you can make it. And I'm super excited to do this next interview just because this is where it started. Shades of Purple started talking about the community, the different shades of the community. And here we are doing another interview. And this is a really special one, right? Because this is someone who wasn't really part of the Stadia community, wasn't really part of the initial, when we kind of lost Stadia and that whole crowd. Someone totally different that just met this year because I was like, several of the games I like to play. So you already know what they are, right? Like Zal, Prince of Persia. You know what games I like to play. This content creator reviews all of them. Like I went through his channel and I was like, oh my goodness, we have like so much same taste in gaming and really saw the games the same way. So we're definitely going to dig into that. But without further ado, I want to introduce y'all to Extra Life Reviews. Extra Life, how are you?
I'm well. How are you? Thank you
Oh
for
my
having me.
No, thanks for being here. And I mean, this is super cool, right? Because you
Yeah,
normally do your reviews with you super well edited,
thank you.
and you're showing your face, but usually we just get the voice.
Mhm.
All and so thank you so much for this suggesting it when you did. I'm glad we're finally here. And thanks for stopping by. I know you stopped by the channel a couple of times. But we're finally doing this.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this for the last few weeks since we talked about it, and I'm glad that it's finally here.
No, I'm super well. Extra life, like in your own words, and I know when you came into chat a couple of times, you had talked about, a little bit about you, and I know I
Mhm.
kind of said a little bit about you, but how would you describe yourself in your own words?
Well, I'm a variety gamer. So that means that I basically play all sorts of games, whether that be on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo. I used to be a Sony pony once upon a time, and then I
Whoa, console,
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah,
what,
yeah, yeah.
what?
No. And then I turned 13. Uh, but then, yeah, so I embrace them all. I also have a Steam Deck, and I play all sorts of games on all sorts of platforms. And yeah, I love it all. And, I've been gaming since I was one. So
Okay, wow. So you've been gaming for a while, and we're going
mhm.
to talk about what happened 30 years ago this year here in a second, besides you turning one.
Yeah,
But uh, I know you as Extra Life
Mhm.
Reviews. Discord knows you as Mel. You have your formal government name. Um, can you tell us a little bit about why Mel? Because Mel is not your government name.
Right. My name is Farhan. Actually, technically, my legal name is much longer, but there's a whole complicated thing with that. But we'll say my name is Farhan. However, Mel is the sort of thing that the internet calls me. It's an acronym for Middle Earth Lore. And that was the channel that I used to run prior to this. And I used to have around like 7,000 or 8,000 subs on there. But I found that I wasn't enjoying the process as much anymore. So, as much as it's good to have all the subscribers and all that and whatever, like, what's the point of it if I'm not enjoying it? So if this is a much smaller channel, sure, but hey, I'm having fun, so that's what's more important, and it's always been my passion. So
Awesome. So if y'all didn't catch that, so right now Mel stands for, if you go on his Discord, and we'll link it down below. I linked the channel, I think, to this. So please go out there and subscribe to him. He does amazing content like game reviews. And it's the reason Extra Life Reviews, right? But beforehand, he was all into Lord of the Rings, right? So we're gonna be asking you a little bit about Amazon versus TV show versus original content versus cartoon from the 70s. I'm going
mhm,
to be asking you that because I think you
mhm,
know it all.
yeah.
And so, but definitely, so Farhan is a government name. Mel is what the internet knows him as, and Extra Life Reviews is how we kind of came across each other. And I think it was because I was taking a lot of heat for my I think it was my Hellblade 2 review. And like I think you were like spot on like with me kind of like where we thought it was like really
Mhm.
pretty like gameplay was lacking
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about
Oh,
that.
yeah, okay.
This is all about you. So tell us, we are all about nostalgia here,
Mhm.
right? We're all about those memories that made us gamers, that brought us first into the community. Uh yes, Obi, there's a cartoon for Lord of the Rings from the 70s. You need to watch it. It's amazing. I don't know what Mel thinks, but we'll talk about
No,
it.
I love them, the Lord of the Rings, and they also had a Hobbit cart
The
animated
Hobbit,
before.
yeah, the Hobbit's
Yeah,
one's the
yeah,
one I know,
yeah,
like, silly little bit. Like,
yeah.
it's like this very folksy,
Mhm.
like, song in that one.
Yeah.
I love it. But, what's your earliest gaming memory?
Yeah, the like, I even had it, I think, on my first video, but, like, there's, like, a little screenshot you can see from one of these videos, like, home videos that we had, where you can just see me playing, Street Fighter, EX plus Alpha on the PS1, and, yeah, I was 1 years old at the time. I think it was, like, or nearly 2. I think it was back in 2001. So, yeah, it was a time.
So you're Pete. So you admitted that you were a Sony pony at
Mhm.
one time, like
Yeah.
PlayStation. You grew out of it at the age of 13
Yeah.
in your own way. You're like once you eventually grew out of it. So PlayStation 1 is your so before we really get into it, I mean, this is like actually a really special year for
Mhm.
PlayStation, right? 30th anniversary.
Yep.
And I see your little PlayStation logo in the
Yeah.
back there. I
I
see.
do this for the, so that people can comment and be like, "Why is Chief's helmet above the PlayStation? That's blasphemous." But yeah.
And then I see a little Assassin's Creed down there at the
Yeah,
bottom.
yeah, I do. I have a whole bunch of different little
Look at
knickknacks.
that.
Yeah.
Love it. Love and then look at what you're representing. Which
Oh,
Zelda are
right.
we? The Legend of
Legend of
Zelda.
Zelda,
Which
it's just
one? Which
well,
one?
no, it's just a blank, like,
Oh,
just a regular,
it's just
yeah,
the
yeah,
franchise.
yeah,
Look
yeah.
at you representing everything right here. Oh, I love it. This is super okay. Let's go. I know Obi. So Obi Rose is
Mhm,
definitely a super friend of the show, has
mhm,
his own shades of purple, comes on every once in a while.
mhm.
Uh trying to become the world's number one dad. So shout out to you, Obi. Obi is actually a fighting game guru. So when you say
Oh,
Street
okay.
Fighter, you have a fan in Obi 100%. So all right, so 30th. So did we
Mhm.
say 30th anniversary of PlayStation right
Yeah,
now?
yeah,
And we're gonna talk about your whole gaming journey, but I have to ask you this question:
sure.
Are you still in the PlayStation ecosystem?
Yeah. My PS5 is right here. I have all the consoles right here. I don't know if my camera will allow me to show all that, but yeah, I got my PS5, my Xbox, and my Switch down there.
Well, look
And
at that,
Samus,
like right next to each other. That's
yeah,
super cool.
and you got Samus
So,
sitting on a little question box right there. But
oh, look at
yeah,
oh, that's my girl. My girl,
yeah,
Samus, doing my thing. So, are in obviously today's a big day for
mhm,
PlayStation,
right.
right? And you talked about the nostalgia. I have to ask, are you going to be playing Astrobot?
I want to. I really do. The only thing that is making me not like thinking I'm not gonna, at least right now, is money because there's so many games, and so I just don't like. I can only afford so many at a time. But maybe, like if I just suddenly realize, hey, actually, I'm Scotiabank and I'm richer than I think, then maybe I can. But
Okay.
yeah,
No, it's super cool. Well, let us, I
mm,
know you're doing an amazing job with the
thank
game
you. Yeah,
reviews that you do and building your channel the way it does. And I will implore you all if you want to see like some solid, very well done, edited videos, like someone who really takes a
thank you.
lot of pride in the craft. Uh Mel here does a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Like if you like the kind of the games that I talk about, some of those, not the really big bangers, like obviously he does that, but a lot of like that kind of very well curated library. Go check Mel's reviews out. 100% super well, like objective opinions, very well thought out of, uh, and super cool guys. We're gonna find out, talking about his gaming journey. So thanks, Mel. And we have a question. Was that a do you play guitar? Was that a
Guitar?
guitar?
No. Unless you might have seen at the back that's the Leviathan axe from God of War, or
Oh,
the
so super
Yamato
got it.
from Devil May Cry. I don't, but no.
So no, he's a gamer. He's pure gamer. He doesn't
Yeah.
have time for instruments. He's a gamer. No time
The
for
only
music.
instruments
No.
are my controllers here. That's it.
Look at wow, that's fancy.
Thank you.
That's fancy. What is that?
Yeah,
I never see my.
it's a dual sense, but I just swapped out the little plate here with a red one because I thought it looked cool. And then you have your own custom design lab controllers for Xbox as well. It's mine.
Look at that!
Yep.
Look at that! He's getting all the accessories for everybody.
Yeah, I even got the God of War one right here. It's
Whoa!
Nice. Yeah,
he has them all.
Yeah.
So you're like all around. So you start on PlayStation, Street Fighter on PlayStation. So would you say you're like traditionally like a fighting game type?
Oh no. I mean, like, I do dabble in them every now and again. I like to play them, but am I good at them? Absolutely not. But yeah, I do try them out, like pretty much all of them. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, all of those.
Oh, Tekken. Obi's favorite is Tekken.
I haven't played the new one because I just have, like so much, just only so much money you can allocate to things. But I've enjoyed them. Smash Bros as well.
So
Rubbish, but
so that's where you started. And so I mean, any other PlayStation games? Obviously, Street Fighter, PlayStation 1 really. So many franchises started there. Any other ones from that time frame?
What did I start with from that time? Okay, let me see. I played only a handful on PS1 because I was very little. It was really on the PS2 when my brother got PS2.
Best-selling console ever.
Yeah, that's when I started. We started with a lot of movie tie-ins. That's the stuff that we used to play a lot of. I didn't know what good games were. Not to say that like Ratatouille or whatever it wasn't good, but hey, I didn't develop my palate really until I think the first Assassin's Creed on the PS3. Yeah.
So Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah, the first
where we're going to like Israel or Jerusalem, and
it was like the Holy Land. So you have Jerusalem and Damascus and Acre and all those places.
Damascus, you had the 3 cities. You had the 3 cities. That's actually so. I left gaming for a little while, and the PS3 was like their big selling point was like you could get Blu-ray on the PS3. Yeah. So I ended up getting that, and I got Assassin's Creed, and that's when I started. It's actually my favorite one to date.
Oh wow! Okay, the first one.
Yeah, the first one. Just because like you start off and you're like super powered up, right? Like on that hill, and then you like I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like the only gaming I did back then. Was Assassin's Creed and Ghostbusters. But okay, so you PS2 was not a thing. So you started playing PS2.
Yeah.
But you just were like playing games. You're just like any of us who are like, hey, game, I'm playing, I'm doing it.
We did like a lot of those like Spider-Man 2, Star Wars Revenge of the Sith and whatnot. There was a couple of other games like Nightfire and whatever. That was fun, but nothing like super serious,
Yeah. And what's up, ISO? I see you out there. And so one of the things I always wondered for like the generation who grew up with PS1, right? The generation who went to PS2. Why no Nintendo?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like I always talk about money. This game is an expensive hobby, so it's like it's one of those things where it's like you buy the thing that you kind of want most, and if you have the money, go for the other thing. And usually we didn't. We could only have like one console at a time, right? Now as an adult, I still don't really have the money, but I have more money to spend on other things. That's why I have a PS5 and a Series X and a Switch and whatever. But otherwise, before then, I could only really go for the one thing that I wanted. So, like once we got to even the PS4 stage, once I finally realized, Xbox is fine, I still stuck with the PS4 because, like I wouldn't need to buy a second console if the one was enough for me at the time. But
No, I totally hear you. I
yeah.
totally hear you. See you, Chariot Man. Welcome, welcome. We're talking to Mel from Extra Life Gaming. I put his channel in the link, so definitely go check it out. He does amazing, like I said, amazing reviews. And it's not like the reviews you would normally hear. Like I feel like a lot of content creators just mimic each other.
Mm-hmm.
Mel actually like goes through, plays the game, gives a solid like where he stands on it. So I definitely appreciate that. And like I said, if y'all like the games sometimes that I talk about where you're like, I never heard anybody talk about that. Mel plays a lot of these games.
Yeah.
That's actually like, I don't know how the algorithm paired us up, but it must have been something like I'm playing or talking about these types of games. You're playing and talking about these types of games, and it just like was this.
I think it was the Hellblade one
Yeah.
because of so many that I felt the same way. Like I'd seen so many more positive rant, which is always great. Like I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. You're allowed to like whatever you like or dislike whatever you dislike. But yeah, like it was nice to see somebody else sort of have that viewpoint as well. Than just like it felt a little bit isolating. Although I'm honest and I try to be honest in my reviews, but yeah, like being like, oh, okay, you didn't like it, but everyone else did, But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it was a very honest, like I said, I thought it was a very honest take. If y'all want to see, I see purple. People were like, "You're a pony," and I was like I got a Game Pass
Yeah.
subscription to play the game, like But I played the first one on
Mhm.
Switch, and obviously we had kind of landed on the set. You go way more in depth than I did in it, and I definitely appreciated that. But kind of jumping back, so if we think about PS3 era, right?
Mhm.
We think about that Xbox One era.
Right.
What are some of the things? Obviously, Assassin's Creed. You said like that is where you started to develop your palette
Yeah.
in gaming.
Mhm.
What are some other games around this time that you think were really influential to your what your understanding of like gaming was?
Of what? Okay, yeah. So I think from there, like at that time, I was still playing in a lot of times, and then even some separate things. Like I had played Force Unleashed, which is a Star Wars game separate from the movies, and then they did Force Unleashed 2. I enjoyed that, even if a lot of people didn't, and I can see why, because it wasn't, story wise, it wasn't the best, but whatever. I liked it for what it was. But at that time, I played that, some of the Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings Lego games. And yeah, just it was mostly just that, like Assassin's Creed and whatever. But then as time went on, like I would go to GameStop every now and again, previously called EB Games in Canada until recently, a few years ago. And I would just find some pre-owned games that people would talk about, like Mass Effect,
Okay.
and Dead Space, and eventually The Last of Us. And so all of those things sort of influenced and developed my palate even further, and made me understand and appreciate the medium much more than sometimes even film and television.
No, I definitely appreciate it because like I talk about it. I think a lot of the audiences, because most of us are older a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of us have a 3, some of us have a 4, some of us have a 5 in front of our age, and I always talk about like gaming as a medium,
Mhm.
gaming as an art. Like it
Right.
competes against other. It competes is not the right word, but it
Yeah.
competes for my attention
Mhm.
with other forms of art,
Yeah.
right?
Totally.
And I think when you start getting, I think the thing I will attribute to PS3 now, I did miss the PS2 Xbox era. So I will
Mhm.
say that.
Mhm.
But one thing that I think separates like the PS1 and 64 from the PS3 era is the storytelling.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
during that time. Now, obviously, some people are like, "Oh, this game was like, what is the game you like, Obi? Metal Gear."
Mhm.
Obi
No.
swears by Metal Gear,
Yeah.
right? Snake Eater. Yeah, he swears by
There's
this.
a
He's like,
remake coming. I'm so excited
yeah.
for that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and to get it pumped, Nintendo is like leaning
Mhm.
it right
Yeah.
to like the whole Metal Gear. Like, shout out to Nintendo, doing what they have to do. But to me, that's what I remember. The PS3 era is just like, well, these are now like starting to get a little bit more
Mhm.
sophisticated. in their
especially
story.
mhm,
Yeah.
especially
Go
with
ahead.
Naughty Dog and Uncharted. I think that was one I forgot to mention. Right, that and Assassin's Creed, like those were like the first two, especially because they both feature Nolan North, the voice actor of both Desmond and Nathan Drake. But yeah, sorry, I
No,
didn't mean
it's
to
good.
cut you off.
No, I know it's good, and I wanna give a shout out to someone else who just appeared in chat, a gun surgeon, another person I stopped by. Y'all will probably be hearing from Gun Surgeon here in the next month. He has an amazing story too, so thanks, Gun Surgeon, for stopping by, and, I've actually been catching your streams. I just haven't been typing because it's at work. But y'all, we'll be talking to Gun Surgeon as well here pretty soon. Thanks, Gun Surgeon, for stopping by. Uh, so Mel, when we so you talked about a couple of really big franchises here, right?
Yeah,
Talked about Last of Us. We talked about Assassin's Creed. We talked about you said Uncharted, I think in that
Uncharted. Yeah.
that you talked about Uncharted. Um, some people are gonna say you're still a Sony pony at this point because like right.
Okay. Well, yeah. Look, I love my story games. That's my like huge thing. That's what I play most is narrative adventures. That's what gets me so attached to these games and these characters and whatever. And that's why I like heavily focus in on them in my reviews and stuff because that is probably one of the most important aspects to me. Obviously, gameplay super important, but like yeah, that is always like a huge priority for me, and that's why I gravitate towards Sony games. Not that
No.
Xbox is bad. I love Master Chief. I love Halo still, but my Nathan Drake is
He's
it's
just put a
always
disclaimer, y'all. He's still
yeah.
that is a Master Chief. If you look at that shelf, the first thing you see
Yeah.
probably that's the PlayStation because
Well,
it's neon,
yeah.
but then you see the Master Chief right there.
And then right
So
next to it is my degree, but that's besides it. And that Chief is priority here.
Chief is definitely priority. All right, so just for the people, because we do have a lot of Xbox fans out there. A lot of people love that era, right? That Xbox 360 era was key. And you don't have to mention it, but obviously Halo. What's another Xbox game? The franchise you
Gears of
appreciate?
War. Yeah.
You love Gears.
Yeah.
So many people. I only have played one Gears 5,
Oh yeah,
and
Gears 5 was good. Actually, yeah. Go on.
you liked it.
No, I did. I did.
See, I played. So I was an Outriders fan, and I went to Gears 5, and I was like, I like Outriders.
Hmm.
Like I couldn't get it, but everybody's like, you have to play all the other Gears, and I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My relationship with Gears is kind of complicated and different to most people, because obviously I came to it very late. I came to most of these Xbox games very late. Obviously, I played Halo when I was younger, like at friends' houses, like the multiplayer, or whatever. Never actually the story until a few years ago. Same thing with Gears. Gears, and people are going to hate me for saying this, but the first like three that are like the best three, the original trilogy, everyone loves them. I find them a little bit boring gameplay wise. I think it's fun with a person, but if you're playing alone, it's just like repetitive.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's big words because everybody will say the first three are like the best.
Yeah. The story wise, it's better, but gameplay wise, I found it a little dull. Maybe it's a time thing. Maybe some people like it for nostalgia. I don't know. But and maybe I played it wrong. I have no idea. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to play it with somebody else, but playing it alone, I was like, this is the same thing. 3 started to pick up, but then by the time it started to, it ended. And a lot of people don't like 4 or 5 as much, but personally, gameplay wise, I like them more. But that's I'm being
You're like
honest
neither
here.
here nor there, right?
Yeah,
Neither here nor there. You
yeah,
like the gameplay, you like the game mechanic of it,
yeah.
and that's why I say like we talk about the same thing. Like you talk about stories, you talk about game mechanic, you talk about like just the atmosphere. Like I said when I came across your reviews, and I watched like 5 of them,
Oh wow.
because we play so many of the same types of games,
Mhm.
and you reviewed them, um, and I thought they were just super
Thank you.
delightful. So, like I said, great taste,
Thank
great
you. Thank
taste.
you. Thank you. I'm trying to get out a Persona 3 Reload review. I've been trying to work on that for months, but I don't know what's happening with me because I love that game to death. And I'm also working on a Dragon Age Inquisition retrospective before Veilguard comes out.
Dragon Age. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So you're going really big. And Gun Surgeon says, love Gears, playing through 5 now, but paused it while finished Black Myth Wukong. And Gun Surgeon, I know we're kind of close to each other. We're kind of playing that game at the same time, Black Myth. And Mel, you actually had sent me some stuff on there. So thanks for passing that along. But Gears 1 was one of the games he loved as a kid. So yeah, so Gears I think is a very interesting series. I only played 5. Like I said, I knew of Gears, but this was around the time I was not really gaming. Like if you had told me what was Gears of War, what was God of War, I would have been like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It has the word war in it. I don't know.
Gears of War, God of War, the same thing, whatever.
Yeah, but that was back then. Obviously now,
right? Of course.
And Wit, seems like everybody has a Gears story. I'm nostalgic for when I would play Gears with my brother when we still liked the same games. Oh, Wit, look at that, throwing shade at the brother. What's not into the shooters or the sports games anymore.
See, a lot of people talk about like with their brother, and I think that's what makes Gears, and what people love about it is you're playing it with someone. It's a co-op experience. Playing it alone, you're just like I could play with my brother, but obviously he doesn't. We don't play at the same time. He lives in Poland, actually staying over right now, but he lives in Poland studying medicine, so we can't do that. We don't have that sort of experience all the time anymore, at least, right? But seems like a lot of people are commenting on the fact that they played it with someone else growing up.
See, I think my example of Gears, and I've talked about this game many times because I don't think it gets enough credit, but my Gears, the game I play with my brother or whoever, was Contra on NES. And it's obviously super cool. Like you can play it with one person, but it's like one of those first games I can remember on NES where it's like 2 people co-op going through. And now the thing about it is it's come out again, right? They did a remake. That's beautiful. If y'all have not played the Contra remake, highly, highly, highly advise you go pick it up, try to get it on sale, do something. It's really cool if you played the first one. But the sad thing is he stopped gaming, and that game is hard. Like the platforming in that game is legit.
Yeah.
And now it's like you can't really get into it just because the controller and playing on that.
It's sort of dated, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of harder. So yeah. So we got through the Xbox 360. You got through PlayStation 3. You have this taste in gaming.
Yeah.
Right. You got a decision to make. Xbox One or PS4?
PS4.
Oh, wow. You're like, it's no
well, yeah, okay. Are we talking about when I decided it, or are we talking about like, what is the better one of the time? Like what
did you decide at the time? Like why did you go the direction you went with at the time? Because this is a very unique time, right? This is a time where
I think I'll always choose PlayStation only because so for PS4, I mean, that was one of those things because it was like for me, like I said, story is always the most important thing, and when I'm looking for those IP, I'm going for PlayStation, right? And those are the games that resonate with me the most. And not that Xbox has anything, wrong. It's just that there are certain games that I want to play that I always will. But then also now, if we're talking about the same thing, PS5 or Xbox Series X, if I had never played any games before and I was just new to the ecosystem entirely, I would go Xbox because you can get Game Pass, you have hundreds of games to play, hundreds of hours to spend. However, because I built my library on PlayStation, on PS4 over the years, and I like these kinds of games and I know what I like, I will go for the PS5. Same thing with that generation too, right? So
you developed it, and Gun Surgeon out there, if you know what Gun Surgeon just put in chat,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Like that's all I'm gonna say. If you know.
Yeah.
Like The first time you do that, it is a magical feeling. That's all I can say. I remember the first time I actually landed that, and that was super cool. So all right, so I totally agree. Like, right, once you kind of have your feeling of like what you like,
Mhm.
right? This type of game, this type of art style you like, that's where you're gonna go.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I think Game Pass, and I think Game Pass does a really good job,
Mhm.
right? I do want to say that. I don't think I say it enough, but I will say that I think Game Pass does a great job of like, you want to play games, we're gonna give you some games,
Yeah.
right? Um, what I do, like, same thing though. I think it's the difference of like, see, you're in Canada, you said, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So I don't know if Canada has, but of course you do. Right? You have Chinese buffets,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Game Pass is like Chinese buffet. It's like a
Mhm.
really good Chinese
Yeah.
buffet
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
It's not like really like, oh, you're just
Yeah.
here. I think you're money laundering type of Chinese buffet. It's like legit.
Yeah.
Like you have really good like everything from the iced tea to the fried rice to the red ribs to the fortune cookies, like everything's good. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
levels of Chinese food right there.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good. Sometimes you want that. But I think like when you want to eat, you want like a steak, you're gonna go to a
Yeah.
steakhouse.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know? Like you're gonna like, yeah, I can get more food at the Chinese buffet. But when I want to eat like something nice, I'm
Mm.
going to the steakhouse,
Exactly. That. Yeah. That's a great way to put it. Exactly.
you know? As I just came back from a restaurant. I don't know. Food's always on my mind. Food's always on my mind.
I
So
just had
I
a
think
barbecue, so that was
you just had barbecue?
that's why I ran a little late because we were just finishing up eating.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah. It's good.
I don't know if I'm more surprised that you just had barbecue or that Canada has good barbecue. If Jeff Janak's in chat, he's gonna kill me for that statement. But you know, I don't know if he is. But that's super. No, I had
Yeah.
what did I had? I had pasta bolognese.
Ooh,
I know, I know. I don't even
that's
know what bolognese stands for, but it was good.
bolognese is like the little like it's like ground beef and it's like
Yeah,
saucy. That's kind of what we have with our spaghetti, more so than meatballs. But yeah.
we had that, and then we also had. Side note, y'all. I know we're talking about games. We're talking about food right now. This is
Games are
actually
food
a cultural. This is a
in a way.
cultural thing.
Mm.
For the first time ever, and chat knows this,
Mm.
I had poutine.
Ooh, first time.
I know. Like you're Canadian,
Yeah.
right? Like this is like a national food. Like up until today, I would describe poutine or Pantene. That's the hair product. Poutine. Uh, I would describe poutine as curly fries with chili.
No,
Yeah,
but
I know. Everybody sighs when I say that, but it looked like
uh-huh.
curly fries with chili.
Right.
And today I had it, and it was like this mushroom gravy.
Yeah.
It was delicious. That's all I'm gonna say. So
that's what's important is that you like it. You know?
I do.
My
I
brother
like
hates it.
Yeah.
I scolded him for a little bit, but that's besides the point. You know. But yeah, I mean, he's not totally, I guess, as Canadian as I am. Even I'm not entirely Canadian, obviously, background wise. But then also, I was born in the UK, so there's that too. But
you're one of the UK Canadians.
Yes.
So are you on the Western province? Are you on the western side of Canada or the eastern?
Yeah, Western.
Yeah. Oh, so you're like Vancouver.
Sorry. I don't know why I'm saying what Eastern.
Oh,
I don't know why. I don't know why. I just my brain just did something there.
Eastern. Like Montreal.
Close. I'm in Ottawa or near
Ottawa.
No.
I know they have a hockey team. That's all I know about them. Right?
Yeah.
I always feel like I hear Ottawa and hockey.
Yeah, the Senators. Yeah. Look,
Something.
I'm not a sports guy. So
Something.
I'm the wrong person.
They're not sports people. Hockey's not a real sport. Don't worry. Don't worry, I just offended like some people of chat again. I am offending a lot of people today. So what's up, geek? I see you out there. I see you. We're just talking to Extra Life Games, and I implore y'all, like, Extra Life does an amazing job. Is in the community, does an amazing job with their content creation and reviewing games. We're just talking about their gaming journey as we always do. So sometime around this time though, PS4 era, right? You're
Yeah.
loving games.
Yeah.
You decide not to make a channel about games, but to make a channel about Middle Earth.
Yeah. That was okay. So I've had several channels over the years.
Okay.
I started my very first channel when I was 9, or 10, something like 9 or 10. And I've had several, like some of the, it started off as random. I obviously was a kid. I didn't know what I was doing. Then it kind of became more gaming oriented because that's the cool thing to do when you're, and I had several channels. And then, by I think 2018, I had been watching a lot of, Star Wars channels and whatever. So I was thinking, I love Lord of the Rings, and Lord of the Rings has been a huge part of my life since I was little, right? Like the very first movie I've ever seen was Lord of the Rings. My dad took me to theaters when I was 2 years old. Look, I have a weird upbringing. Don't question it. Anyway, so I had already read the books, or at least the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. I hadn't read all the Silmarillion yet, but I had read some of it and the other supplement. And there are tons of books. Okay, I have 11 books on my shelf. That ain't even half of them. Anyway, so I was like, you know what? Why don't I start a channel about this? And I did, and I would make like bite-sized content that was like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, answer certain questions and yada yada. But as time went forward, I found that I didn't enjoy it as much anymore because it would take hours of research. And look, the Tolkien community will grill you at the stake if you get something wrong. One thing wrong, you're done. Okay, no, not I'm being a little, I'm exaggerating a
No,
little bit.
we have a Tolkien expert in
No,
in
but
our community. He's not here right now, but we
there's
do have
so
a
much
Tolkien
lore and
expert.
things that was so hard to remember. I would forget a lot of it, and as more creators popped up that I would collab with, they seemed to be more, I guess, experts on the subject than I was, and would remember and recall these things. And I kind of felt different and divided. And a lot of people were gravitating towards their content, and then putting out a video, doing all the research, spending hours just to make like a 3-minute video, 5-minute video felt like homework, especially because I was still studying. So I was like, you know what? And gaming is something that I know like the back of my hand. The stuff that I would watch were other review channels like Game Ranks and Skill Up and whatever, right? Like all these, right? And I'm like, why don't I just do that? Let me just try this all over again. So I abandoned my channel of 7,000 subscribers or whatever it was. It's still there. I can still use it, but I just don't. And started again. Am I growing much? No, but that's okay because I'm doing what I love.
No, I love that. Well, for one, we're gonna hopefully after this show you've grown a little bit.
Thank you.
That's why I brought you on, just because I think you're a cool person.
Thank
I
you.
think like your content is different. I
Thank you.
like your reviews. Like I think, like I said before, I think a lot of gaming channels do reviews, um, and they say the same thing.
Mhm.
Like and it's like it's clearly you did not play the most recently. I saw this in Black Myth Wukong. As
Mhm.
someone who played the game,
Mhm.
researched it, I found a lot of people were taking that game and fighting a culture war on both sides. Like,
Right.
and it was like you clearly did not play the game. Um, but so I appreciated how you did your reviews. But if we go back to Middle Earth and go back to Tolkien, we go back to like The Hobbit to Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings, similarity. You mentioned that.
Mhm.
Um, why start there
With the
with Tolkien?
with
Yeah,
Tolkien. Well,
yeah.
um, just because I was so like engrossed with that series, Star Wars. I had already sort of come off of for a little bit. I think a lot of people did during that time, and not just because of how the movie. Like, think of what you want with the movies and the sequels and whatever. You have opinions, whatever. I don't mind, but it was sort of that back and forth, that toxic fandomness that
Mhm.
started to come out, and I just kind of want to distance myself from that. And Lord of the Rings always, I mean, at the time, it just seemed like one of those like always welcoming places. And I had read the books. I was just there's something about that series that has always sort of resonated with me, and so I was like, you know what? Let me just try it. Let's see what happens. If it does well, great. If it doesn't, whatever. I just wanted to test it out, and it did do well, but I found myself not enjoying it. And a part of the thing about quitting and restarting with all these different channels was that, like, yes, it would be demotivating to not want to, like, to not see the numbers and whatever. Obviously, everyone's going to feel that. That's not what it's about, but you're going to feel that naturally. And so sometimes I'd quit, but I'd always come back and start a new channel or do something else, because editing has always been a huge part of my life, and content creation has been a huge part of my life. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old, and I've been love making videos since then. And I can't see my life without it at this point. So
Wow, we have someone, Cowboy, King of Entertainment. That's self-given title. He was in the chat earlier. He's usually Thursdays his movie night with his wife,
oh,
and they're now doing
that's
a
sweet.
move. He loves content creation. He loves creating videos. He loves doing all sorts of stuff. So, um, and we can tell,
Mhm.
like, when you do you if you haven't seen him, like I said, go well, any game you like that I normally talk about, like that any of y'all have played, go check out his reviews. Like I said, very well done. Leave a comment. Uh, Obviously, like and subscribe. Like I
No, thank
said,
you.
and Gun Surgeon, you already know it. Gun Surgeon, I believe you just hit 500, right? Gun
Hey,
Surgeon just hit
congrats.
500.
Good.
Yeah, he was building up to it. So congrats to Gun Surgeon as well. And we want to pass on that energy. So awesome job, Gun Surgeon. But yeah, so if you could do it all over again, because we have a lot of people in chat who have channels, right?
Right.
Some of these people put out content like every day.
Yeah.
Some of these people have started channels, haven't. And some people like kind of just do it every once in a while. So like I like to think of it like as a YouTube adult gamer
Mm.
content creation type of channel. Uh if you could do it all over again, would you still have went the route you went? And if not, what would you do differently? Like, what is some advice you have on that journey?
Yeah, I think I would, because I mean, as cliche as it sounds, like, you, it was all those steps and that journey that brought me to where I am, right? That I, like, to sort of crafting and perfecting that craft over time, and learning the ins and outs of the algorithm, and or trying to. Nobody really understands it most of the time. I still don't understand it. I still don't know what works and what doesn't, why one video does work and what doesn't. But I'm trying. I'm learning, and I want to continue learning. And I wouldn't do that if I just got it, like, straight away. Obviously, it's nice to think about, like, oh, I wish I started this many years before. But it's I'm sure you've probably heard it, if any one of you also are content creators and have watched other people who talk about this stuff. They'll say, the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is today. And so, I'm just happy to be creating content, and I appreciate all the little bits of viewers or engagement that I get.
Yeah, no, I think I'm happy, and thank you. I think Gun Surgeons that said I crossed 500 or Urban clarified. So, congrats to the chat. I mean, I always do this for the community, so thank you all for that. Um, and I think we have all sorts of people. I know, like the person I see right now who has talked about starting a channel, and we're waiting for him to really get in there. Is Geek the Sneak? I see a Geek playing Warhammer Space Marine 2. Let us know how it is, because a lot of people have said that's a Game of the Year contender.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah, you could just, is he just going to be doing Warhammer content and stuff?
I don't know. Geek plays
Uh,
a lot of games.
oh,
Geek
okay.
plays a lot.
Hmm.
I started playing with Geek either through Outriders or through World War Z.
Hmm.
But I think Geek has often like hinted at that they may start content.
Okay.
And so he's the name I see right now.
Mhm.
Urban obviously has secret channels he never tells us about. There's everybody up in this chat, like who has stuff. Obviously, I told you all about Gun Surgeon, who will be probably talking to in about a few weeks to a month. I have to schedule it up with him. But he's also has an amazing story and also just crossed 500 through Black Myth Wukong. So, um, like I said, I think we're all trying to learn. I continue to see it as a community. Like the ability to go out and talk to people and get your thoughts out is like phenomenal.
Mhm.
Um, it's just really weird coming from uh like the only time I think we could make when I think about when I was little and you could make content and people see it was like America's Funniest Videos.
Yeah.
And to go from that to this
Yeah.
is like very like
The rise of user generated content. Yeah. That's something that I studied quite a bit. I mean, I haven't mentioned this. I'm surprised I haven't, but yet, but yeah, I have a degree in. I just recently got a degree in communications and media studies. So like a lot of it was studying that sort of thing, where we understand the rise in this sort of thing in this in these spaces, especially user generated content and whatnot. Yeah.
no self-demand content. And I see Obi talking about the first day of school there. And I think Rouster's kids also had the first day of school recently. So we have parents, I always,
Hmm.
if you can see how I do it, Mel. So, but I'm just giving shout outs as we're talking about your journey here and your content creation. So obviously you learned a lot. Middle Earth, I have to ask you, favorite, if while we're on Middle Earth, favorite favorite book in the Tolkien. Oh, yeah, I
Ooh.
know. Yeah, like take some time. I think that's a very deep question, right? Because like let me narrow it in. Let me narrow it in. Right.
Mhm.
We're gonna go through the trilogy and Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. Just
Yeah.
in there.
Okay. Probably Return of the King.
Really?
Yeah, just because I just like the how the journey sort of finally comes to an end and all the perils that they go through in it. Yeah, it's always been
Really?
my favorite one. Yeah, I don't know. I like normally for a lot of times like I like the sort of ending to things and how they come together.
So Journey to the King, the thing that great, I mean, obviously
Yeah,
all of them are really interesting. The thing about Journey to the King that kind of always threw me is Hobbit, clear start, clear end,
yeah,
right? First book, clear
yeah,
start, clear end.
yeah.
Second book, clear start, clear end.
Mm-hmm.
Third book picks up
Mm-hmm.
kind of in the middle of something. You
Uh,
know what I mean?
we're talking about Two Towers.
No, Two Towers, not Two Towers.
Mm.
Return of the King. Like
Oh, Return of the King. Okay, right,
it
yeah,
kind of picks up in the like right. It picks up because they're kind of like with the spider.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like to me, it always felt like it kind of
Yeah,
picked up. Obviously, it has a clear ending,
yeah, yeah. But
but
it does drag a little bit at points, like especially, which is one of the changes that I actually appreciate in the movies that would have made it way too long was they completely axed the section where it's the Scouring of the Shire, you know, where Sauron goes and raids the Hobbit village and then they finally let him to rest there. But yeah, so I kind of understand and see where you're coming from.
yeah, no, that's just me. Like I think I always gravitate towards. I'm one of those people. Like I played the first Assassin's Creed, and I think that's the best. No one says that.
Mhm.
Like everybody says like some other one, and I'm like the first one because it's the first one I played. And so obviously the one I will always go with is The Hobbit.
Mhm.
Because it got me into the series and just understanding that and I don't know. There's the cartoon, the 70s cartoon always has a
Yeah.
soft
The
spot in my
greatest
heart.
adventure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so
And the
70s, man.
yeah, and the frog like Gollum. Yeah, I do
Yes.
impressions of him every now and again. But yeah.
Oh, can we get an impression of
Oh
Column?
god,
Can
it's
we
so
do an
bad.
impression of Column? You brought it up.
Okay.
You brought it up.
Okay, not the move, not the Andy Circus one. That one's hard to do. I can't do that one. This one is like Gollum, Gollum. Bless us and splash us, my precious. I can't remember exactly what he says, but something like that.
Oh, this is the cartoon like where he has like the croaky
Yeah,
voice.
the frog looking one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I haven't seen that in like 20 years. That's super cool. That takes a lot to do. Um, no, I love that. So
Thanks.
obviously, so you love good stories. I think Tolkien does a really good job of telling
Mhm.
stories,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You mentioned Star Wars.
Mm.
I don't think does as good of a job. I know I'm gonna get like
Yeah.
if mostly Martinez. We have a couple of super Star Wars fans in our community, so mostly Martinez is he's the one that comes off to the top of my head. But um, I think storytelling is unique, and Tolkien did it really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, um, and then obviously Star Wars. You're a Star Wars fan. You
Of
said.
course. Yeah. I got
Have you
a
played the new one?
Luke Skywalker. Yes, I just reviewed that one actually.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I played through it last week and then immediately, tried to get a review as quickly as possible. It's not bad.
Is okay.
I'll say
Okay.
that. It's okay. It's okay. It's good sometimes even, but it's nothing like great. I don't hate it like some people do, but it's fine.
Marcus, Internet of Games. He's out in the UK, so he's probably
Mhm.
asleep right now. He may catch this tomorrow. He usually catches my streams the next day. A lot of times, him and Neil. He kind of had the review that he thought it was a good game. He thought if it's not for you, it's not for
Yeah,
you. But it's not meant to be for you, right?
yeah.
Like I think that's how he saw it.
It's one of those things where it's just like you'll enjoy it if you have it and you play it and whatever, but like, is it worth the full price? Maybe not. I mean, unless it's the only thing that you're looking for and you only want to play. But I would personally wait for a sale or something. Just but
Ubisoft Plus, maybe.
and Ubisoft, that's how I played it actually. To get that 3-day early access, I'm contributing to their their greedy service. I know, but when you're a reviewer and you don't get review codes, what else are you supposed to do? But
No, I hear you. I hear you. No, I like I said, I mean that's how I played Hellblade. I played
yeah,
it on there.
on
I
Game
played it on
Pass,
Game
yeah,
Pass.
yeah, same.
Prince of Persia, obviously I bought Prince of Persia because I'm really I was excited to play the DLCs to Prince of Persia.
Mhm.
And so yeah, but I did PS Plus for Zao.
Mhm.
Tales of Kanzara, which
Yeah,
you had wrote about
yeah.
and or spoke about. Yeah, so I don't know. I think I'm not really a huge Star Wars fan. I'll
Mm.
be like I watched them. I think they're okay. But if you I can't even name the characters now, like some of the characters in the most recent ones. What do you think of the TV shows? Very trivial.
Some of them are hit or miss. I'm more forgiving of them than I think most people, right? But yeah, I think they haven't been the best. It's kind of been iffy. Haven't been a fan of some of the new, especially like the Acolyte and whatever. But if you are, like, I'm always the person who's like, if you like it, I'm so happy for you. I'm not going to take that away from you. And but personally, I just didn't. And so I think a lot of people try to do the opposite, where they just try to shit on everyone and everything. But yeah.
So in your opinion, what does Star Wars need? Like if you like in your opinion, what type of Star Wars story do you like?
Just a good. Okay, look. So for example, the original trilogy, everyone's favorite one is Empire. That's my second favorite one.
Okay.
I like Return of the Jedi more.
Of course.
And everyone's like, "Oh, you the one with the teddy bear." Okay, look, I like the Ewoks. Don't hit me. Don't hate me. Don't at me. But the main thing about Return of the Jedi that I like so much is the redemption arc, that story of Vader, right? And how he's finally pulled to the light from Luke. That will always be like probably one of the best things in Star Wars for me. And it's a lot of those kinds of things, a lot of themes in the Clone Wars show, and that also get carried into Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. it's those moments and those things that make Star Wars for me. So, yeah,
So you would say go back to that.
those kinds of things. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm too hard of a mark to please. Like I think I'm more forgiving, but then sometimes they just like go really like they surpass that, and I can't bring myself to liking it sometimes. Like for example, the Kenobi Obi-Wan Kenobi TV show. A lot of people hate it. I kind of like that one, so I'm easy, but maybe not that easy.
So, I mean, we haven't had a game reviewer on the show. Most of us are like content creators. Like we like certain platforms. We like certain um series. Like you actually review content. Like
Mm.
I can't think of another person I've had on the show that that's their content is reviewing games. I'm
Mhm.
trying to think. I mean, we've had Ninja Guy. I mean, we've had like obviously Rudix, Colin Cos. I'm trying to think of the people who just like that's their thing.
Right.
And I think Gun Surgeon speaks about a really good thing, which
Mhm.
is obviously Ubisoft, but most gaming companies are doing poorly right now,
Yeah.
right? What what do you think? First off, what type of games would you say you like? Obviously, you said story driven, you said that,
Yeah.
that deep layer. And what do you think the gaming industry needs, if it needs anything?
Oh, that's a loaded question. What doesn't it need? Like, it depends on what we're talking about. Like in terms of like obviously, okay. First of all, I think the people that focus on a lot of the sort of the anti woke, like those people, like they'll focus on like this being woke, that being, and these controversies. The big thing that we're ignoring a lot of times is how many people get laid off in all of these jobs. We're not giving them the time and the space to create what they need to create, right? And we're just instead dumping them and then leaving them jobless and having it be replaced by like whatever AI or something really quick or whatever. And I think that's the big issue here in the industry right now. The biggest, in my opinion.
No, I agree. I think right now I'm actually about to probably do a video this on ISO Motion Gaming is in chat. I've actually gamed with him in this game. I'm a really big fan of X Defiant. Like I'm not a first person shooter person, but I like this game. And that community has a lot of drama going on. I maybe do my first X Defiant content this weekend. So but I totally agree with you. Right now, the entire industry, there are tons of layoffs. Like if you talk to
Yeah.
people in the industry, there are layoffs.
Yeah.
There are cost cutting measures. There are games that have been delayed that people are like, we gotta, if we don't launch it, we're not gonna launch it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I think a lot of people don't realize that side of things, that there is something where companies will say, we're ready to cut our losses now
Yeah.
versus just launching. This happens in the movie industry a lot.
Mm.
In the TV industry, they're like, we're just not going to launch we filmed it,
Mm.
we've done everything, but it's cheaper not to launch than to launch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so I think what you're talking about is like a pretty big thing that in the industry it's like, I think gamers, we talk about like, hey, there's bugs in this game, hey,
Mm.
this game has these characters or so forth. But I think for the gaming people who built the games, it's a totally different conversation.
Right. Yeah. Because they're all like rushed and put like it's just crunch all the time in a lot of these companies. Because before we used to have like development times of 4 or 5 years. Now it's gone up to like 6, 7, sometimes 8 years, and even that's not enough because what we're asking is bigger games. It's always bigger. There's always a bigger budget to throw into these things, and obviously nobody likes delays, but they're necessary sometimes when you want to make a good game, right? Like you need to make it as good as possible. But unfortunately, the ones that helm these studios, the publishers and whatever, they're not interested in that. They're only looking to be in the green. And even if they're doing fine, like they'll just want to always exponentially grow, instead of being like, hey, you know what, for the sake of these people and their livelihoods and these real human beings who also have jobs and lives, let's take a little bit of a cut. But no, they don't want to do that. They're only interested in their own personal game. And so that's why, like, for example, until recently, thankfully, it's been saved by Crafton, Tanko Gameworks, but they were, cut as well as Arcane and whatever after the Xbox acquisition and whatever. So
No, I totally hear. I think so in your opinion, if you could just wave a magic wand, what would you do? Like, let's say you have your own game company, right?
yeah,
Because I think as a reviewer, you talk about games that are good. You're honest, like,
yeah,
right? You try to be as objective as you can.
yeah.
What separates, in your opinion, the games that are good from the games that are not good? And then and that also doesn't necessarily tell the tale of the tape between the
Mhm.
games that actually sell versus the games that don't sell.
Yeah.
Like, how would you remedy this situation?
I mean, okay, if I had my own studio, like I said, I wouldn't. Obviously, it depends on, like, it's very situational, but at the same time, I think I would want to take care of my employees first. I want to make sure that they're getting the time and the space to create what they need to create, and that they are also, like, if we are facing a sort of harder financial time than we're used to, then I would be happy to, like, I assume I'd be getting a higher pay than they would. I'd be happy to take a cut on behalf of them if I'm able to pay and provide for those people, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important, is these people and their lives. And so, yeah, a game can be good, it can be bad, and whatever, but it's really how we create these things, that matters most. And part of the reason why people don't like Ubisoft is because a lot of their shady practices, and they encourage things like crunch and not allowing people to work at their best. It's part of the reason why Skull and Bones was released after all that time, because they already spent so much of a budget, like a huge budget on that, so they had to release it eventually. But that was basically like a glorified, in some ways worse version than the sailing aspect of Assassin's Creed Black Flag. So like, why play that when you can play like Sea of Thieves, for example? But they still had to push it out. And so that's, I guess, if I had a magic wand, I would try to take care of my workers, like that. I think it was Iwata who was the CEO of Nintendo from years ago when the Wii U wasn't selling very well. He took a cut out of his own. So I think I would try to do the same thing. Obviously, realistically speaking, it's not always 100% possible. You might have higher ups that don't allow you, whatever. For example, if I was in Phil's position, I don't think I would be able to make all these sort of decisions. But Phil, meaning Phil Spencer.
Phil Spencer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sourblowr, we are talking to ExtraLife Reviews. His channel is in chat, and just for anybody who's catching us right now, ExtraLife is someone I came across. They do game reviews, and they review a lot of different games, give a very objective point of view. We came across because a lot of the games I play, unless I'm looking for like you mentioned Skilled Up, like unless I'm talking like a big content creator, I find it hard to find a content creator that reviews the games I like, right? Because I have a kind of an eclectic taste in games. And ExtraLife actually kind of had hit several of those. And so that's how we met, and we decided to collab. And so that's who it is. So I definitely go check out his channel and give him a like and a subscribe. He's super awesome.
Thank you.
Super awesome dude.
I see in the chat that you've also reached 500 subs.
That's what they said. I'll know like Saturday, because like it always does.
It says 502. Okay, congrats.
Oh, well,
even if it's early, congrats.
We'll say, like I said, Saturday. It drops. Thank you all so much. It sometimes drops off automatically. And I told, I think, Holtz, who's in chat now, and Wit and Ambi, maybe Rouster, obviously I would do like a membership at the very lowest level, and provide some other, like, getting to know Purple more intimately, I guess, for that if I do actually maintain the 500 level. So we'll see. Hey Lester, what's going on? Now your game of the year so far? Oh, so Lester has a question. What's your game of the year so far?
Persona 3 Reload.
Persona.
Yeah.
Really? I did not see you as a Persona fan.
That's the funny thing. And like, because of the things I talk about, especially in my review, before that I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and I thought it was a great game. But the problems I had with it, or that I would claim to have with it, ironically, are the things I liked about Persona 3 Reload. And I think it's also because of a certain different level of expectation, whatever. I'll talk more about it because I'm trying to put out a video about it. It's very hard to, but yeah,
it's a long
that's
a long video.
Yeah, I did not expect to like Persona 3 Reload as much as I did, but I do. I love that. I loved it. It was so good. Anyway.
Yeah, Geek is saying Persona 3, and we have Legend 350. He's not here right now. He's also a really big Persona fan. You know, my game of the year so far. Now I've only, like last year, my game of the year was Remnant 2. I love Remnant 2, and I'm a Zelda fan, right? As you can see, like I bought everything you could buy of Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
But I thought Remnant was like, I just liked what they did with Remnant. Up until 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
Up until last week, I would say my game of the year for 2024 was Prince of Persia. Okay. I just thought it was clean. I don't think Ubisoft got enough credit.
Really
like it is super good. Like it's like no bugs, has a decent storyline.
That's one of the like rare. And yeah, Metroidvanias are so great. I love them. But like that's one of the rare things about like they'll make a good game, like a really good game, and because they already have that reputation, people sort of just ignore them. Same thing with Immortals: Phoenix Rising. I don't know if you played that one. That was
I did. It was on Stadia, so I did get a chance to play.
It was great, and unfortunately, it didn't.
Rouster likes it. Rouster likes Immortals.
We're not going to get a sequel, unfortunately. But yeah, that's kind of one of the things. It's like they make a really, really good game, and then it doesn't really get its attention as much as it deserves.
So, like Ubisoft, like I said, they do XDefiant, and I'm going to be making a video about that because, like, I think Ubisoft's in a very interesting position. They just released on console this year another one of my favorite series that I do not think gets enough credit because it's not what most people think. And that's Valiant Hearts.
Oh yeah, okay.
And that's
I totally forgot about that one.
Valiant's are Montpellier, right? They did Valiant Hearts, and they on console they just released Journey Home this year. And talk about a game that's going to make you cry. Like
I've never actually played that one, but yeah,
Valiant Hearts is solid. It is like Lo-Fi. If he's still in chat, he knows what I'm talking about. Lo-Fi Monk knows what I'm talking about. But if I had to say it, and I think Gun Surgeon is beating me to the punch here. After playing, I think I gave it a 90 initially. I think you asked me, Mel, what my score was for Black Myth Wukong. I think I'm dropping it to 85.
Okay.
Which is still good.
Yeah.
like people don't realize like
the internet will say otherwise. It's a 10 or nothing.
No, 85 is like really good. I don't think I've ever gave it a game 10.
Yeah.
I think a 9.5 is like a Breath of the Wild. Right? Like that's like, even Tears of the Kingdom for me wasn't a 9.5. So if I give someone like an 8.5, like
it means you hated it. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely hated the game. And I gave it Hellblade 2 is not a game, Sour Blow. Like nice try there. Nice try, but we are not passing tech demos off as games. We're not doing that. We're not doing that today. Like as a tech demo, I would give it probably a 6.
Yeah.
As a game.
Six is a good. I am hesitant of giving review scores because it's just so like weird and subjective, and like the scale is like all because there's certain things you know.
This is my thing. This is my thing about game scores, right? Which is like, the games I give game of the will never make it because like I like just games that are just different, right? But with that said, there's no way right now, I think Hellblade sits at an 80 Metacritic. Black Myth Wukong sits at an 81, I think.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Those are nowhere close
No.
to equivalent, and like nowhere close.
Yeah. But I don't really like. Obviously, I do see the scores, but I don't like score, and I don't like paying attention to scores because people will always, especially that's why I don't include them in my, because people will always just skip to that, right?
Yeah.
If you look at an IGN video, right, people are like, oh, they gave it a blah blah blah, but they're not
7 out of
watching
10.
the
IGN 7 out of 10.
So too much water, right?
Yeah.
Too much water.
Yeah.
But yeah, they will just skip to that. They won't actually listen to the review. IGN obviously is hit or miss sometimes with what they say, but like I still respect them as what they do. Like it's an outlet. Like they're individuals. Anyway, I digress. My point is, people aren't really looking for that. They will just skip to that, and that's it. So if I want to have people actually pay attention to what I'm saying, then I'll have people pay attention to what I'm saying and like talk about the little nuances. But even then, some of that gets lost in translation, and they'll be like, "Oh, so basically, you hated the game."
You
like,
hated the game.
No.
And I see you there. I saw Little Nightmares. How dare you? How dare you? Yeah,
What?
I know. 2 out of 10. I hope he means Little Nightmares comes out February 10th, because there's no way you're saying
Yeah.
that is a 2 out of 10. Stop it. Oh my goodness. Stop it. Sour Blow, stop it. This is horrible. Y'all are not. This is
if they turned it into a live service game.
Nightmares into a live service. I don't know. I like
that would be a real little nightmare. Or a big one.
That would be a big night.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do. Obviously, I'm excited about Reanimal
Yeah.
as well. But no, I think I think people forget like what are critics like. What I appreciate. So the thing I appreciated about, even if a critic gives a bad score for a game I don't think is bad, is there's going to be people on, like, you want people who are like, this doesn't meet their needs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You want people who are like overly hyped about something. Overlook flaws, but they're going to over spotlight the good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then like Metacritic literally is like, we're bringing them all together, and so forth. And I enjoy Metacritic more than like any one individual publication.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Because publications have, like, they don't get money for being accurate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They get money for getting eyes on their content.
Right.
That's the game.
Yeah.
And so that's why I appreciate someone like you. Like, right, you're doing it for the passion. You had a channel that was 7,000 subscribers, which is no easy feat.
Yeah. No.
Like, as anybody in chat right now can tell, like 7,000 is not easy.
And it would have might have been even 50, 100 by now if I continued. But yeah.
Yeah. And so then you restarted it to do something that you had a passion for.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, I like making content. I'm going to make it about games. I know about games. And you can tell, like, your stuff is really well curated. You cut it. And I keep saying that, like, because as someone who like does, and I have help, like, I'm going to say, like, I am not the best at editing. I have people help me. Even then it's like, I can't, like, I just do like one take in there. That's where I go with it. And my help like does 90, like, they help me a lot. And so like I think you're right. ISO says games shouldn't be rated. I mean, I don't hate that on that, but at the same time, I'm not gonna get like super offended.
Right.
Like, I think,
no, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be. I'm just saying that I don't personally like to rate games, or like I will, like in a casual conversation like this, I'll be like something like this, but like in an actual review, I will.
Yeah. No, I think, and most people, because for me personally, like I said, I give Black Myth Wukong 8.5, 8 to 8.5. And I may give that wherever, but there's reasons. Like, I've played through the game. I understand, like, I don't like this. Like this actually gives me a headache in the game, or
Mhm,
so forth. But yeah, for whoever asked the question initially, I think it was Lester. Right now, my game of the year is Black Myth Wukong. Uh, but it's more from a point of art than a game. And I think
mhm,
people are gonna lose that translation. If y'all can't
mhm,
tell, I like to get super, super meta when
mhm,
I see something, and like so for a game to actually pull me to the source material and pull me into like what the game is really about, which is like uh Mahayana Buddhism,
mhm.
that is that's a pretty cool medium to do that. So that's why I
Yeah,
do that. But that's fine. So we got Mel is gonna be, you said Persona 3 Reload.
yep.
Mine is gonna be Black Myth Wukong right now. That could change. There are a
Mhm.
couple of games still coming out this
Of
year, so
course,
that
yeah,
could change.
yeah.
And who knows? Who knows? Prince of Persia may sneak back up there. Like Prince of
With the
Persia's,
DLCs, yeah,
yeah, Prince of
yeah,
Persia's good. Like I
yeah, it
don't want
is.
to like I think they just did an amazing job there.
Mhm,
So so we'll see. So we'll see. So Mel, so you're on content creation, you're on you know, collect a gamer, you game on everything.
yeah,
You know, I asked you what could potentially the gaming industry do, and what your interesting point is, it's not about the content. You said take care of the employees.
yes,
That's what you thought the industry needed. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
c-
Take care of your
content,
workers,
take care of the
those
workers.
designing the games, those who are lending their voices, protect their rights and their ability to work and make a living wage. Yeah,
That's where you are. And I
yeah,
remember you were the one who told me to go check out Larian Studios, their CEO, when they were talking about at some game awards about
mm,
the
yeah.
industry. I think
Oh
you
yeah.
mentioned that. No, I agree. I agree. I think that's really interesting. Like some people would say, "Hey, don't push games until they're ready."
Mhm.
Some people would say make smaller games. Some people would say make games that are for audiences. I think that's really interesting that you said take care of workers. Like
Yeah.
that's unless they sucked and fired. I
There's there's
so
there's there's always like people have like what I a common sentiment I've been seeing a lot is games are boring now. The games are this and that or whatever, and people are expecting games to be one thing or another. But there are so many games now. There's like way more than there ever used to be, and I truly believe that there is a game for everyone. Right? Like
oh,
if it's not for you, if that one game isn't for you, there's going to be another one that's going to be for you, and or that one might be for someone else, and so on and so forth. And so, like, yeah, like people sort of take these kinds of things too seriously, and I think there's a lot to be enjoyed and a lot to be talked about. Obviously, have a discussion, and have it nuanced and whatever, but be respectful about it too. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't do that, but that's kind of true about any media and any space. But
no, I feel that. I feel that. So that's what currently what you would do, right? We
mhm,
talked about a little bit about in the past. We talked about what you're doing now,
yeah,
what you would do differently now.
yeah.
What are you kind of, and I always kind of do this, like,
Mhm.
past, present, future. I do it in different ways. What are you looking forward to in gaming? Because we hear some people are not, some people are like really tired. They're burned out. They're
Mhm.
like, gaming can't do
If
anything.
if
You
those
know,
if my advice for those people is especially like because I've heard that before, like if you're just burnt out and you don't want to, then that means that is just gaming in general, and you probably need to switch off, maybe touch some grass for a little bit, and come back when you're ready. Like it's just one of those things where it's just it'll easily like you can always eventually find it. And if you're not finding it, it just means that you need to switch off for a while and do something else in your life. Like maybe you need to go and I don't know, vacation, or maybe just watch something else, right? Find a new hobby and then come back to it when you're ready. But yeah, sorry, what was your question?
no. So what are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to is like games wise, like when I'm anticipated,
Any
like
anything. Some people like I guess some people would be like what they're looking forward to is the future, right?
mm,
Cloud, like what VR, right? Urban, if Mr. Urban Roll's still in
Mm,
chat, like he's a big
okay.
VR type. Or some people would be like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to Switch." No one says Switch 2, but I think the Switch 2 is the most
Yeah,
revolutionary.
probably. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
everyone is looking forward to
Yeah,
that.
but some
Uh,
people would say games, some people would say some uh whatever they
yeah,
do,
like I
NFT
I think
gaming.
I think I'm just like, looking forward to anticipating certain games and releasing, not particularly the hardware as much because we're at such a good place and a good point.
Oh,
VR,
you said like a lot of people say this is the worst generation. We've not seen next gen gaming, but you said the hardware is good.
yeah, okay. Look, people will say we haven't seen next gen games, but like, what does it really mean to be a next gen game at this point? Like, yeah, sure, some of them are on like cross platform, right? Some of them are made like, for example, if you have a PS5, a lot of them are on PS4 as well. Sure, I get that, but they obviously underperform on PS4. They don't perform as well, and they have to optimize it in a certain way and whatever. And I'm sure you could probably there was lots of cross-platform games on the PS3 as well. But I think this generation has been fine. Maybe not as good, quote unquote, good, and for various different reasons and whatever. But I think it's fine. Like there's a PS5 Pro coming, and maybe that's what we should talk about or speculated to come. Especially because there's been a teaser leaked, and then there's been a little image on the 30th anniversary in the background where you can see it. And I'm like, do I need a PS4 Pro, PS5 Pro? Sorry. No, not really. Like, I don't know what hardware advancements they're going to add to it that justifies it until the PS6, but we'll see. And so, yeah, I think we're at a good point for that. And in VR, I can't really speak much about that because I've never used a VR headset because they are expensive. They're like 700, like for a PSVR, it's like 750 over here in Canada or something in the bundle. Ridiculous. So, like I think we're at a good point personally. I have a PS5, an Xbox, a Switch, a Steam Deck. What more could I need at this point? And well, the Switch too. That's underpowered. The Switch is underpowered. I will say that. But yeah, aside from
No,
that, just games.
so you just said games. Any games in particular?
Certain ones, like we talked about, Little Nightmares, 3, Reanimal. Yeah, I don't know. Some of the ones that are coming out later this year. There's a lot of them coming
Okay,
out.
so get us excited.
Yeah.
Tell.
Okay. Let's see. What else? There's tons. Assassin's Creed Shadows.
So you're looking
Uh,
forward to it.
yeah. Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Silent Hill 2 remake. Metal Gear Solid 3. No, Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. The remake of Snake Eater. What else? I don't know. There's tons.
Zelda.
Oh yes, Zelda, of course. Yeah, that one. I'm gonna. That's another one. There's so many. Like, they're all up there.
Diablo.
Is there a Diablo?
Yeah,
No,
there's the
Diablo
Diablo
4.
expansion.
Oh, the
Did it come out
expansion.
already?
The
Did
expansion.
the expansion already come out?
Did it? I can't remember.
Did the expansion come out already? Vessels of Hatred? I don't think so. Coming October 8th.
Oh,
October
okay.
8th.
Oh, okay. Damn. Okay. See, there's
Okay.
so many. There's so many different things to look forward to, right? Like everyone's saying gaming's hit a lull, but we have a lot of games here.
Gala games. I don't like so we have some VR stands. Is that fair, ISO Urban? Can I call you VR stands? No, I'm joking. Um Yeah, so I think so they're saying VR is legit. They can vouch for it. I don't know. I told you once VR can make you have an orgasm, then I would say it'll take off. I don't know if it's. I continue to say like we're not there yet. It's one of those
Ready
things.
Ready Player One, yeah, with
Yeah,
the haptics and
it's
everything.
not there.
Yeah,
Haptics, yes, that's
yeah,
what you need. Something. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
not there. But it is cool. It
yeah.
is much cooler than when I first tried it
Mm.
25 years ago or something
Yeah,
like
it
that.
just needs to be more accessible and brought down in price, because
Yeah, no, it's
especially
expensive.
like when you have so few games on there, it's just like you have to buy a PS5 for if you want to use PSVR, and then on top of that, it's like, yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah. So I think for me personally, I am looking forward to. I too think that um I'm not really into specs. Like I can't really see it. Like
Mhm.
obviously Black Myth Wukong is a great example. Like I played on uh PlayStation. I played it on GFN in the cloud, and I actually played it on my own local hardware, and I could tell the difference, but once I'm in the game, I couldn't tell the difference.
Right.
Like I'm so like hyper focused,
Mhm.
especially in that game. It's like I can't really tell the difference. So I would say that, of course, if they bring an upgrade and so forth, I'll probably get it. But I'm really looking forward to get certain games.
Mm.
Uh, you know, uh, this week, one of my top uh 10 games was released this week
Mhm.
that has not made its rounds, but I will be playing it this Sunday. So if y'all are here, obviously I'm almost done with Still Wakes the Deep. But it was immediately after that, The Casting of Frank Stone
Oh, yeah. That's
came
out.
out. It came out. Yes, came out yesterday.
There's too many to keep up with. I'm
Exactly,
like, okay.
exactly. No one's talking about that. Obviously, I'm a big DLC fan. Like, I think a
Mhm.
game I like when they bring out DLC. So, Remnant 2's third DLC will be launching
Mhm.
this month. Obviously, I mentioned earlier Diablo,
Mhm.
Vessels of Hatred, another DLC. I think also Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yep.
We've talked about Prince of Persia. They're doing an expansion to that.
Yep.
So that's
I
already,
usually have to like look them up to remember what is coming out or what's already been like. Yeah, there's a lot.
and that's what we know. Like, obviously, I think Geek said he's playing Marine 2. I can't think of the name.
Warhammer
Warhammer. So I was really
Space
excited about that.
Marine 2, I think
I'm
is
a
what
big
it's
THQ fan,
called.
like THQ Nordic.
Mhm.
So Geek, if you're out there, he didn't tell us if it's doing it. Fast. Look at Fast, our resident. He's the current Fall Guys champion on my
Mhm.
channel. So there he is. Welcome, Fast. So yeah, so like, um, would I like it if Little Nightmares was on it? I don't think so. I like Little Nightmares the way, like I like the art. Like it's like a
Mm.
thing. It's like a thing. I don't know. Um, we'll see. So yeah, I think I'm like really, games are there. There's some really great TV shows.
Mhm.
There's like a few movies. There's a few like I'm okay where gaming's at. And when I think about it, if I had to change anything about the gaming industry, I would just like going back to a simpler time.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I think like there is a crowd out there that wants to hate on gaming.
Yeah.
And I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand this.
They well, that crowd likes to hate on everything, and it's really most of them are grifters that just want to farm content, right? And because hate uh, gets a lot of reactionaries and mob mentality. So it's an easy thing to do, easy content.
Yeah, I just want to go back to an
Yeah.
easier time.
Mhm.
Like why bring that, like it's like gaming is supposed, like, what do you say, simpleton? Simpleton, you
Mm.
always say something to the point of like games are meant to be fun. Like he
Yeah.
always has something like this in
Mm.
his Twitter feed. And it's literally like you go to a park and like a little kid's like, get off the seesaw, like or something, like
Yeah.
it's like it's a park. It's supposed to be fun. Like I don't know what you want this to be. Like do you want to like create a war out of gaming? Do you want to do like I don't
Uh,
understand the mentality.
yeah, it's just
So
it's engagement and it gets them the attention that they want, right? It's very easy content, especially when you're doing YouTube videos. You just make angry stuff, whether that be about gaming or some other thing like Star
yeah.
Wars or whatever. Very easy.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I just want to go back to a much
Yeah.
like where we enjoy. And if it's
Yeah.
not something you enjoy, move on.
Where you can enjoy it without all the extra noise. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, and even if you have a critique on something, like I think it's totally okay to
Yeah.
critique something
Yeah.
and still like see it through. Like,
Yeah.
you could not like something, but still find something enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. It's like we live in this very binomial, like either hate
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
like, and
exactly. It's what I've been saying a lot of, and it's what I've been noticing, and especially when it comes to like reviewing and stuff. Like people will get really mad if you disagree with them, as if it's like you can't. Not only can you not have your own opinion and be honest about it, but also it's like the whole point of reviews is that you listen to somebody's opinion about it, then you go to somebody else's and see what they say, and then another person, and then from that point on, you make your own decision. It's really all that, right? Like, and if they and there are going to be like even people who might like my content or your content, they may agree with you some of the time, but sometimes they're not going to. But that's just the reality of it. It's just you just
I love
take it with
that.
a grain of
Like,
salt.
you just take it all and just form your own opinion.
Opinion, yeah,
I think that's a great point of view,
yeah,
and like that's the point of an opinion. Like respecting, you said this earlier,
yeah,
just respect
yeah.
like people where they are.
Like some of the content right creators that I watch, like I've mentioned, like Skilla, for example, I don't always agree with his opinions. Like, probably most of the time, I think I do, but there's times I don't. But I still watch him. I still listen to what he has to say. Then I form my own opinion. And it's just that's just how it is, right? And obviously, you're going to do that, even if it were like a TV, for example. You're not going to go and just watch one person's thoughts and be like, "Oh, this TV was absolute shit. Don't buy it." Like, no, you're going to be like, "Okay, well, what does this person have to say about it?" And then you go and you buy it and see it for yourself. Like, only so many reviews are going to tell you how it is until you experience it for yourself. So,
I appreciate that. Well, like I said, I'm a fan of your content. I'm a fan of your
thank you. And
reviews.
as
Uh,
am I view.
no, thanks for that. I'm gonna definitely check out your. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but
Mhm.
Marcus, who is in Internet of Games, is his name. He is, and like I said, I'm not. When I watch Star Wars, it's kind of like all in the same vein to me.
Mhm.
Like I don't know. So
It's
but I
just
do
too
want.
much. It's just a lot of bloated content, right?
No, I know it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. It's a maybe that's what it is.
Mhm.
Like they've built out the lore, like they
Yeah.
really have built that out,
Yeah.
to
A
a
little
lot.
too much, and then they'll revisit the same like time periods instead of going back to like the old Republic or whatever. They'll just do like
Yeah,
the
they're
same.
expanding
Yeah.
on like
Yeah.
further, which if I
Yeah.
remember, there was like the novels would actually go back.
Yeah. The
Is that
novels, yes, but then they were decanonized after Disney took over, and then whatever Disney makes now is the new canon and the other things. Although you can still appreciate them and like them, they're not like technically gone forever, but they're not really part of the canon anymore. Uh, so that's
and
why people got upset.
He's here. Internet of Games is actually
Oh,
here, the one who's also playing Star Wars.
oh,
I didn't
I'm
think
not
you
a
were
Star
up,
Wars fan.
Marcus. He is. He's playing the
Nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. Uh,
no. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I watch other people talk about it, and and I'm happy that people have something.
yeah.
I think um Black Myth Wukong proved this, and before that came out, I had always thought this. I think there's a lot of content out there that you kind of mentioned this, that gaming as a medium to
Hmm.
tell stories. I think there's a lot of what I would like to see is a lot more original content. Like I'm talking like if I say the story of Gilgamesh,
Hmm.
no one knows what I'm talking about like nowadays. But that's
Hmm.
like a ancient ballad that has survived like millennia,
Yeah.
right? Like why can't we retell that in a gaming format, right? Or like why can we not tell some of these stories that have been almost lost to time because they are so old, or we don't have a way to express it in a TV series, or like that's what I look forward to seeing
Hmm. Yeah. That
is
that that a an IP is original, and then it remains in that one place instead of having to expand everywhere or be
yeah,
adapted
yeah.
several times. Yeah.
Or just retelling it,
Mhm.
right? Like everybody's talking about like creating new IP, like the console wars, which you admitted you grew out of at
Mhm.
13.
Yeah.
Like everybody's talking about like, well, we created this new IP, or I created this. And it's like there's so much rich culture and human history that
Mhm.
has not been told or passed down. that is
Mhm.
like really solid, that I would hope that someone is inspired. That's the one thing I hope inspires people
Yeah.
with Black Myth Wukong, is that you don't have to create a new story. You don't have to create a new lore. There's actually quite a bit of that in our
Mhm.
own history that if we just retold it and was able to connect to like, hey, who we were, like
Mhm.
potentially that would, I don't know, connect with
Mostly,
someone.
you'll find those sort of more creative decisions in like the indie space more so
Yeah.
than the AAA space, because those ones are always controlled by, the publishers and whatever, and they ultimately get the say into what kind of game they're making, right? Like for example, obviously we had. I can't believe it was this year. I completely forgot, but Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, right? Previously from Rocksteady, from Rocksteady, who previously made the Arkham games, which are beloved. But then, they made this into a live service, which they didn't really want to do. And that didn't do well. But that was because live service is popular. And then Concord, right? I'm sure you've heard of that. It
I
dies
I
tomorrow.
I heard, yeah, died to Concord, died. Hey vet, I see you out there. Um yeah, I don't know. Like normally I probably would have talked about Concord if I didn't have an interview. I think Concord is it's a lesson that needed to be learned.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, right? I think, which is, it's pretty naive or ambitious or something else
hmm,
to, for one, in very it's also telling the market about where we are
yeah,
as a gaming market. Like
yeah,
what can you launch? Who is the game for?
yeah.
What are you trying to accomplish? What is the competition out there? And are you just creating to create? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, are you
Well, they're
I
creating to sell, really,
creating to
right?
sell? Creating to sell is a great way.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I look at games as an art, even though
Mhm.
people always say gaming's a business. Like it's a business.
Yeah.
And I talk about the business of gaming a lot. But I also feel at the very heart of it, there's like a passion and art. Like once you
It
start getting into like shareholder returns, ROI,
Mhm.
you start trying to build one game for everyone instead of a game for everyone,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a difference, right? That is a different idea, right? There's the idea that I am building this one game for everyone instead of building a game for for you, like your game, I'm going to build it for you, Mel. I am
Mhm.
going to build another game for someone, like understanding who your market is. Like I think we lost that, and I think that's what we're seeing now is that people are trying to sell that, built that game that can reach 70% of gamers, but it's like that's going to be so shallow. It's not going to answer my
Yeah.
needs. It's not going
Yeah.
to answer your need. It's like it's just going to be you create. And I feel like Concord may have ventured a little too into that.
Yeah, the Concord was one of those things where it's like we're at a point where I think we have so many live service games that the people that are interested in live service games they already played it, and it's a played out entire thing, right? Like it's I've never played Concord. Okay, I wasn't going to buy it. I wasn't going to touch it.
I didn't.
But from what I had seen it seemed a little bit like Overwatch or whatever or something like that, and Overwatch was popular. What, back in 2016? That's when it came
Yeah,
out, right?
gaming.
And like we've had so many since then. We have Valorant, we have Apex. I don't know all the names. Okay, X Defiant, yada yada. Okay, we have all of those, and people who do like those, they'll play those. So having another one to add to the list, it's just like it's not going to do well, and especially if it's coming from Sony, where people who are playing Sony games, they're coming for their first party. They're not looking for live service, right? And so they're delivering a game to the wrong target audience, and it's kind of the same thing like with channels failing because they don't know their niche. And Sony doesn't know, I guess, where they're going with this. They're trying to do more live service, but it's not working. And I'm glad that this was like a real eye opener. It was a lot of money lost and a lot of time lost because people still did work on it, but at the same time, I hope that it gets those people to be like, hey, you know what, let's reevaluate and maybe we just stick to doing what we do best.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they've understand. Obviously, they've pivoted from the VR space. I mean, I give them credit for experimenting.
Hmm.
Um, I think this was obviously there's a point where live service where people thought that was the future. But maybe we'll see. We'll see if there's a pivot that they have a different head. They have co-CEOs of PlayStation. Like all of these are lessons that had to have been
Hmm.
learned, right?
Yeah.
Like in a weird way, it's like good that we learned this, that
Yeah.
game companies learn like, hey, if I'm gonna put out a live service game where you're paying a fee up front and then it's something like, is that really a sustainable model?
Yeah.
Right.
It was also like $40 or something, right? Or $30 or
It's
whatever.
like $40 for something that you're competing against free to play
Yeah.
games. You're
That's
competing against
another thing.
like
Like,
free to play incumbent
yeah.
games,
Yeah.
like free to play incumbent games that are cross platform.
Yeah.
Like there's it's like you went up against like a very tough
Hmm.
um crowd, and
Hmm.
I also want to like everybody's like, oh, Sony, like there's a very good chance Sony knew this was going to fail. I
Yeah.
also like to let people understand a little bit
Because I assume
behind
they've
the
been
scenes.
working on this for years at this
Yeah,
point, right?
well, what I would have thought, like when I heard that they were shutting it down so soon, what I actually what I kind of have trauma about
Hmm.
is they knew they were going to shut it down.
Yeah.
Like to me, this is not the current CEOs in charge of Sony, right? They have
Hmm.
co-CEOs,
Yeah.
did not greenlight this project.
Mm.
Right. This is like a Phil. This is a what was their old CEO's name? Ryan? Uh
Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan.
Yeah.
Right. This is a Jim Ryan thing. It's just like
Hmm.
if you don't play sports, but in sports there's a thing of like when a new general manager comes in,
Hmm.
they're trying to bottom out. They want
Yeah.
to get to the bottom as fast as they can to
Yeah.
one show like, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. That way didn't work, so they can rebuild the way they want to rebuild.
Yeah.
I feel like Sony almost, in my opinion, launched this and shut it down, knowing like, hey, this missed. We knew this was going to miss the mark.
Mm.
A lot of people didn't see that logic like that, but a lot of times it's like literally the logic where you're like, this is to prove that this is
Hmm.
not the direction
I
anymore.
mean, they also knew that just from their concurrent players. I think I saw like last week it was like how many on Steam? I don't even remember, but it
I
was
I
something.
I didn't
It
I
was
didn't
something
play.
really low. But yeah, let me
Yeah. So, but like I said, then they come out with Astrobot, which is supposedly
94. There you go. Okay.
94. A lot of people nostalgia. So I think like they have which is a single player game,
Yeah.
right? Which if you're a fan of the Sony IP, the first person IP, um then obviously this year would show like live service, whether we're talking about
Hmm.
this one, Foam Stars,
Yeah.
uh that didn't
Yeah.
give you the win.
Oh yeah, Foam Stars.
But the first person exclusives did.
Yeah.
The timed exclusives did.
Yeah.
Like that's a data point.
Hmm.
So I'm interested to see what, like I'm always interested to see what they all do. And then who said this? So did Sony did this to see what it was like to be Xbox? Ooh, Fat, you're not a Sony person. I don't know why he's saying stuff like that. Uh, so I don't know. Ashba is 96 on the score. I don't know. That's hard. That's hard for me. Like this is now making me believe this. There's a 96,
Oh, a 96. Holy. I damn.
a
Okay,
96,
that's pretty high. I mean, if it does what it does and it does it well, then
but a 96, like that's a lot for nostalgia.
yeah. But I mean, I don't know. Like that's the thing about scores, right? It's like especially like when you're looking at like it never is going to be giving you an accurate depiction of what it's actually like because like for example, Borderlands came out like a few was early last month. I haven't seen it yet. But opening weekend, it had 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, only to be bumped up with one marginally positive review to 3%. And now I think it's currently sitting at a 10%, which I don't think any movie could be that bad. Or maybe
In Name of the King is a horrible movie that I saw on a date one time.
Name of the King. Okay.
In Name of the King, it came out in 2008. In Name of the King was a horrible movie.
Oh, Jason Statham. Okay.
It's like the only movie I've ever walked out of the theater, like literally just walked out.
Okay, but was it a 0%? It was a movie.
It wasn't 0%, but I just remember like that was. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
I just know that is a horror. Like that movie. That movie ruined people's careers.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'm pretty sure that ruined people's careers. So I don't know. Phil, oh my god, that is conspiracies. Oh my goodness. Well, Mel, I know it's starting to get late. We're almost at that 2-hour time. You know, you've been so gracious with your time, so thank you. But let the people know like what you're up to, where they can find you. I know we posted your chat, your link in the description, but what are you up to? You kind of mentioned some reviews you just did, some reviews you're working on, but yeah, let them know.
Yeah. So, well, it's been great to be here, by the way. I just have to say that. And the 2 hours or the nearly 2 hours that has flown by. But yeah, I just posted a review for Star Wars Outlaws that came out last week. I played through it, did a review. And then I have been writing, still haven't put them out yet, but I've done one for Persona 3 Reload, doing like a sort of retrospective of that because I didn't do the review earlier this year because it's such a long game. And then one for Dragon Age Inquisition, which I'm hoping to do before the Bailguard. And then several other reviews that come in, like Plucky Squire, maybe when that releases on PlayStation Plus or later this month. Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. The next month we have Silent Hill 2 and Life is Strange Double Exposure. And yeah, then the Bailguard and whatever else comes out. And Assassin's Creed Shadows or whatever is there.
No, I think there's a lot. Yeah, and for everybody, I will be this Sunday. Y'all know I will be streaming Still Wakes the Deep. Someone told me I only have like 10 minutes of that, so I don't know if that was less. I'm like,
that's a funny thing. I did the same thing. Like when I played it, like I was like, okay, time to finally hop back on, and then I played 10 minutes or 15 minutes of it, and I was like, oh, so it's over.
Yeah, like someone told me like, okay. Purple, you're really close, and I'm like, oh man. So obviously my stream on Sunday will most likely be 1:52 hours. And we're going to be playing the casting of Frank Stone afterwards. So that's what I have planned this Sunday. And then next week, if y'all have been, for everybody else, if you've been paying close attention to chat, you may have seen who the next guest will be. It's a female gamer. So, you know, I love my female gamers. And so I'm looking forward to that. But obviously, Mel, this has been super fun. And it always flies by. I always like to get to know other gamers. You're a cool dude. Like I said, you do awesome content. I don't just say that. Like, I think you really do put a lot of passion into your reviews. You always kind of speak to the developer. Like you always like kind of give a fair review. And I think it's refreshing. You know, I do like to see you like, are you going to play this? Like, you know, you asked, you sent me the article Black Myth Wukong. So I was like, is he going to play it? I kind of curious. So maybe eventually you might.
Yeah. There are a lot of games that I've wanted to review and do things, but it's like, you know, as a freshly graduated student, I do not have the money. I am broke, let's just say, or nearly. Right. So, you know, there's only so many games, so a little time is expensive, but thank you. And don't sell your content is great too, especially the way that you do this podcast formula. You're so like confident you do this so well. And
thank you. I try. It's all about the community. It's all about building. We got to stay together.
Yeah.
We got to create happiness. And we've had some really great people. And And there's some other people out there who I'm about to try to get to. So I saw you, Lens of Truth, out there. I saw you, Gun Surgeon. I will be hitting you up soon. Do not think I will not be hitting you all up here. But thank you so much, Mel. And for everybody else, thanks for coming by. Thanks for the 502. Like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic it's going to stay above 5 throughout the day, throughout the night. But thank you all so much. It's been a journey to get to that mark. It means a lot. And depending on how it works out, I'll let you all know if I open up more forms of content or not. But thank you all so much for coming by and just supporting the channel. It means a ton to me for that. And so before I start tearing up, I'm going to do what I always do at this time. I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with
Good
me.
with me.
Yeah, and as always, the proof is in the playing. And Mel, any last words?
No, I was glad to be here. Happy you have me on. If you can also find me on Twitter at ExtraLifeMel, or obviously here on YouTube, youtube.com/ExtraLife Reviews at ExtraLife Reviews, or on TikTok at the same thing at ExtraLife Reviews. Anyway,
Yeah, and we will link all the rest of his Discord, his Twitter and his TikTok. We'll link that all in the description. So awesome job, y'all. Go over there, show some support. And if you get a chance, catch one of the reviews of the games y'all like, because he does a lot of them. So thank you so much, Mel. All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.